The Sylvaneth. The Song of War. When the great season of war breaks across the land, the spirit song darkens, like the menacing beat of some great beast's heart. Its thunder shudders through the minds of the Sylvaneth, calling them to the gathering of their clans. Like gale-tossed leaves, the Sylvaneth turn and make their way to the muster. Sylvaneth armies, often known as war groves, are as mercurial and deadly as the individual spirits that make up their ranks. Not only are they fast-moving and supernaturally coordinated, but their mustering seems, to outsiders, a spontaneous and inexplicable phenomenon. In truth, this is not the case. Rather, it is the most powerful leaders of the Sylvaneth who call the muster, be they clan leaders, the regents of the glades, or even the Queen of the Radiant Wood herself. When such a mustering is needed, the spirit who will lead the army gathers their strength and sends forth the song of war. Around them, shivering on the air and thrumming through the bones of the land, the spirit song takes on a bloody hue. Compelling notes of violence and anger twine jaggedly through images of battle and deep, wordless calls for vengeance. Though it would not be impossible for the Sylvaneth to refuse the song's summons, few would choose to do so. Amongst Alarielle's children, loyalty is more than a concept. It is an instinct, as deep-rooted as the desire to survive and to protect their own. Thus, when the Sylvaneth are called to war, they answer willingly, abandoning all other endeavors, even should they be 100 miles. Even should they be hundreds of miles distant. Clans are drawn to their own glades war song first and foremost, harvest-born to harvest-born, and gnarl-root to gnarl-root. It is not unheard of for clans to join the musters of other glades. The strongest songs, those sung in places of power or by Alarielle herself, summon clans from many glades, and it is then that the Sylvaneth are at their mightiest. Mustering can take days or weeks to complete, often occurring in stages as the wargrove marches to battle. New clans and bands of free spirits gather around the regal being that first uttered the song of war. Households of noble spirits sway in silent communion, whilst bands of dryads raise lilting melodies to the skies. Outcasts, the shunned ones, stalk the shadows at the muster's edge, whilst tree-lord ancients make their way to the growing throng, committing faces and names to memory so they might sing better of the battle to come. The tiny spirit imps known as spites scamper and buzz hither and thither, chattering to one another or aping the patrolling sentries with their tiny faces scrunched into serious frowns. With every new band of Sylvaneth that joins the muster, the spirit song swells, becoming a hurricane of melody and metaphor that only the Sylvaneth can truly interpret. It is like a roaring waterfall, like rolling cloud banks, lanced by the rays of the sun, like the beating of a vast oaken heart, deep beneath the roots of the realms. And yet it is like none of those things. It is the glory of the Sylvaneth in its singular, mystical power. When the mustering is done, the spirit song rises to a final shattering crescendo that fills the Sylvaneth with soaring vitality and vengeful purpose. Tree lords boom out deep war cries, whilst branch wraiths raise their voices in melodious battle songs, and wildwoods burst spontaneously from the ground to ensure their foe in tall boughs. Nature's wrath is set loose in a flood as the Sylvaneth sweep down upon their hapless enemies. and battle is joined.